Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2, the Cuban edition, where last episode guys we reworked the whole Pinar del Rio kind of import-export area, the whole industrial section to this part of the map where it all originally started, where we first exported our first goods to Mexico. And what we've done is we built a secondary train station just here in the port area. This allowed me to do a numerous amounts of things. One of them was to take away the tobacco and cigar line from this route, pull it onto here, which is now separated, which is now running so much more efficient than it originally was. Absolutely beautiful, boys. We also then created a brand new line that takes oil down to be processed, or crude oil to be processed into oil, then returned back for the harbour as we now import and export in the oil situation to the USA, which will eventually bring back fuel for us. Now, in doing all of this, it alleviated a couple of pressures, a couple of lines on this original station, and right now it's a little bit confusing. We managed to stick an underground section there for the tobacco line that runs over here. That worked out really well. That's now no longer combined to these lines. But we've got some chaos on the go. It doesn't really make much sense. They all crisscross and it's a little bit all over the place. So we now have the opportunity to make this station so much more efficient than before. The only problem is I have to wait for the perfect time for when there's no trains at this station to be able to pause to edit it. So what we're going to do is we're going to rework this station. I'm going to rework a lot of these lines and this whole junction here just to make things a little bit more efficient. And I'll tell you why right now. We unlocked brand new carriages, which means the trains can be bigger, longer, and carry more cargo than before, which means they're going to be more obstructive to the lines. It's gonna be an interesting one, boys. It's gonna be an interesting one. So while we wait for that perfect time to pause, just want to say right now, if you are enjoying the series, please make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new around here so you do get notified when more episodes do come out. I don't think we're gonna find that perfect moment where there's no trains at this station. Let's see. Okay, let's see. We've still got a steam train there, which is kind of wild. Now, could this be our moment? Hold on, there is a train now rummaging through. If I quickly pause here before he enters, let's cause some chaos, guys. Let's cause some chaos. So with it now paused, we're going to redo all of this. Now, we got to first understand what lines are coming in. We've got two lines coming from down there, one delivering food, one delivering grain on different directions, and they kind of have to merge into a singular lane. Now we can set this up where they have a multitude of platforms to choose from. That is going to be super beneficial for those guys. Now my next issue is going to be the fact that we have a line coming in which is picking up the machines and the goods and all that for San Cristobal. We have another line that picks up the food with Pinar del Rio, and we have another line that kind of passes through, drops off steel, and then goes and picks up planks. It kind of uses it as a stop-off point and also a bypassing point as well. Now, the lines that go this way, they all crisscross one another, which gets a little bit confusing. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. What we're going to do is we're going to edit this part of the station and then work our way through it. So I know I'm going to keep certain parts of this. So I reckon if I deleted you. Now, this is all going to be a little bit crazy, but I got to figure out what is going to be best for us. And I don't know whether to kind of move the main buildings down because I'm sure we're capped there. So that's as far back as I can go there. So if I deleted these buildings, right, this is going to cause absolute chaos and destruction, but it will be worth it in the end. Right, I'm going to delete all this one side here, and then we'll rejig it all here, and then replicate it moving further back. Oh, this is going to be wild. This is going to be wild. So I reckon then we'll start with the tracks, and we've got these two lines coming in. So if we had two tracks there, I want to see how far back I can push the cargo platform. So if I did it one more, and we're still able to build there, which is good. So I can get rid of you, get rid of you, get rid of you. I'm gaining so much more space here. So I do 2 sets of tracks and then a cargo platform. Right, I got to delete some of this stuff. Hold on. Hold on right now. Delete you. Delete you. Right. Let's rejig this. So cargo platform. Then another 2 set of tracks and then a cargo platform. Which I'm now going to have to delete this for just a hot minute. Sorry guys, but this will all make sense momentarily. So I then have dedicated platforms for these 2 lines running in. That works out really well. Then my next issue then is I have this green line that comes in and needs to bypass, and then 2 lines that pick up and exit. Now the green line it needs to bypass is on the right hand side and remains on the right hand side until it's in the middle. But those 2 lines that pick up and then go out should technically be on the left side. So in reality, I need to make my bypassing route in the middle, then the 2 pickup points on the end. So I've got to basically switch these 2 round, kind of technically. So with that said, I just need to then set up 4 sets of tracks here. Right. With then cargo. Oh, I got to delete these now, don't I? Hold on. Cargo platform, and then 2 sets of tracks there for the picky-uppy of those 2 lines. That's how it needs to work. This is amazing. If this actually works the way I'm planning it to, this is going to be absolutely amazing. So the problem now I've got is it's quite long-winded to now try and transfer all of this now over. It is going to be quite long-winded because now I've got to delete so much stuff. Right, do apologise, everybody. I do apologise for all the chaos and destruction right now. But do this gradually, it'll work out. So I reckon I delete the stuff that I don't need and what doesn't align. So what doesn't align right now? These platforms here don't align. This piece of track here doesn't align. Right, that's now gone. So platform there, you don't align. Very good. These 2 do. You don't. You don't align. And of course, you don't align either. Oh, and you don't align. So let's just start with the tracks that I need, first. Now, I don't know how long to make the actual train station now, because I do have the benefit of potentially making it a little bit longer. So if I was to go ahead and delete all this excess, or all the bits that kind of come up to it, which does mean it will push back these train lines. I've never caused so much destruction than I am right now. Now, this road's my next problem. I could potentially get rid of this road. I'm going to actually have to get rid of the road to add the buildings in. So delete you just to there for a minute. All right, you're a little bit too far over, but let's just see if I can actually move. Because the longer the platform, the more goods we can store before there's any issues. So let's get all the platforms now in and let's finalize this station. Right, it's such a big station, isn't it? I could split this into multiple stations, but it's not needed. There's not that many lines coming in there. It's just because we're doing different things. We're bypassing and we're not bypassing, and we're stopping and we're starting. It's a little bit all over the place at the moment. And some kind of lines could be combined on the same platforms, but I want to keep them open, spaced, and free. Right, so cargo buildings. Let's just finalize this. So this can hold up to 80, can't it? So if I just do a long row of these. So I'm changing. Oh, let me reclaim a little bit of land. I'm changing where the road's going to run, so I can bring that up there. Then we're going to have to do an alternative road. Maybe I can do an underpass for the road if I really want it to connect in. You know what I mean? If I really want it to connect in, we can kind of do an underpass. Right, let me just kind of bring this out. And can I now squeeze it in? Yes. So it's just to maximize the amount of cargo we can store. I think we run out of space on this. Oh, no, we can actually put the buildings on this side. Actually, do I put the buildings on this side instead? Like the larger buildings. And I do the smaller buildings on this side so we can still at least run the road going past. Because you never know, at any point we could and we might want to... These carry 40, they carry 80. So I don't know if we technically get more of these or if it's the same amount. But I might want to run a road. You just never know. You never know in this game. Right. But the fact that we've actually gained the ability to put buildings there has now increased the cargo capacity of the actual station. So with that said, if I then run this road going through, there was a moment there where it was working. There we go. Right, it's kind of gone a bit funky, hasn't it? But that's okay. And then I'm going to just delete this back a little bit. And then we'll finish off that momentarily. Right, that's just going to run in. And then we're back in business, right? That touches what it needs to touch. All good. All good. So now we've got to get all the rail lines connected back up. So let's first start with this one. Now, this is the biggest change we're going to have to do. So I'm going to push this as far back as just there. So in terms of the rail now, that one goes into there, and then you go into there. And then we'll incorporate our crissy-crossy just here for the length of the station. Please tell me you're going to work. Oh, no. Right, I don't think it likes the slope that we're working with. So maybe I come a little bit further up. Yes, there we go. So that line's pretty much all taken care of. Let me just quickly sort that route out. So manage the line. So when it gets to the Pina del Rio sittings here, it's 1 and 2 that it works with. So that sorts that one out. Extra platform, we can now load and unload 2 trains at once. Right, that's glorious there. And then I can't see... I'm about to say, I can't see them train tracks there, but that goes that way. And you go there. And then we'll incorporate the old crissy-crossy. Too much curvature, apparently. Whoops. I'm deleting too much stuff. Right, let's go a little bit longer. Bam. Right, nice. So you now are set up on 4 and 3. So those 2 lines are done. They're now back in business. They have dedicated platforms, which is super handy for those guys. Super handy right now. So now let's sort out the 2 trains that technically should be on the outskirts that come down this way. So they should be... I'm going to actually move this... I'm going to delete this to... Actually, where does that bend in? To there. So if I deleted this to here... Now, I'm very well aware there's a train currently there. Actually, that is a bad idea to delete this. Let me push that back. And then delete you, delete you, delete you, delete you, delete you. Which side of... Where is it? Right, it's stuck on a certain piece of track. And I need to push this train back. Right, I think it's on the wrong side still. But I'm pushing that back anyway. And I might redo this whole underground section. So let me delete all of this as well. Because we can sort that out as well. Because I have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to have to kind of change something. And I just don't know what it's going to be yet. Right, there we go. We can visually see it a bit better. So let's sort out then the bit that should be on the outskirts. So you're bending round into there. You're bending round into there. And all I've got to do is add the old Chrissy Crossy apple saucy like that. And that should then finalize those two lines. So one of them is the Pinar del Rio food, which we manage it in the Pinar del Rio settings here. It's on 8, so it'll be 8 and 7, which you can utilize both of them. And then the other one is the San Cristobal machines line. So in the settings here, it'll be 8 and 7. So everything, well, nothing but 8 and 7. That's what I'm trying to say. That solves those two out. Now, I don't know if those lines are predetermined. No, they stay here, which is good. So they come down, they join it here. Off they go. There is no other line that shares it, apart from them two. And I've got to then put the green line in the middle, which it should update in just a moment. So I think now then, this needs to be pushed back, and the underground needs to happen maybe a little bit earlier. I'm not too sure yet. I'm not too sure. But we got to set up right now this run. Now, I could incorporate that line to kind of go through the bypass section. And now I actually probably don't need... But then again, it's sharing the line. Having it underground is a lot just to have it kind of completely separate, isn't it? Let's just see what happens here. I like the idea of it being separate. Right, how does that look in terms of a swooping in bend? I wouldn't say it's the greatest. I wouldn't say that swoop is the greatest, boys. So for that reason, I'm going to redo this whole section. So I'm going to go up to there, just before the Chrissy Crossy. So I'm going to do this bit here. I'm going to run that down going straight. And I'm going to pull this out about there. And then to get around there. So I think we need to go a little bit further down. And I think that is better. Obviously, with the way that it's positioned and where it is, you can't win. You're not going to win. You're going to lose speed. You're going to lose something. It's just what we've got to work with, unfortunately. It is what we've got to work with. Right, smoothing that off a little bit. And then let's just sort out all of this. So that bends in there. That bends in there. And then we are going to require a crisscross depending on which platform it's coming on. You just never know. So that's going to run out and then connect to this middle bit. But like I said, we do have the option to do said underpass, which I could squeeze the underpass along here, providing it works. So that runs into there. You run into there. And then we connect you like that. We connect you like this. Crisscross you there. Now, this setup does mean we could also then bring back the ore line, because it's only sharing it with one other train, but I don't think that's needed anytime soon. Right, the wood line then now needs to be rectified. So manage the line. So if I just get rid of the signal to begin with, so it goes Upper Pinar del Rio South, and then the siddings. So the siddings, so it goes Upper Pinar del Rio, which is here. So it picks up the wood, and it takes it directly to Pinar del Rio South here, right? And then it brings us back to the siddings there. Here is where the issue lies. It needs to be on 5 and 6. So it's got the option to pick one or the other. And then on one direction, like going this way, it bypasses it. That's where you see it going straight over. Now, if anything, I don't need it to go onto this one side. I could just say to it, only go on number 5. No, only go on number 6. Because it's coming back this way anyway. So why complicate it and make it switch over? And then as long as I got the signals in, that should then update everything. So let me just fix all this right now with signals. And then you go there. And then we'll just do one there and there. We'll do that there. And we'll do that there. So you can see where I could run the additional steel training. Ore training, sorry. So go like that. And then I'll do a set here. 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 Do I need to update these guys now? I'll keep that as it is there for just a minute. Didn't delete anything back this way, so we're all okay, right? Yeah. And that solves the steel train / wood train. So the only line left now is the line that picks up the tobacco from over here that makes its way over to there. And that's where we got the underpass, well, where we put it in last episode. But I'm not 100% sold on it just yet. Not 100% sold on it. So if I was to put like this here, I don't think I can get this in here. Oh, it actually could work. So it could go there. And that then switches out this way. So spin that right round. And it'll pop out there. Technically, anyway. Technically, he says. So this would run all the way down. Right, what's going on with this? There we go. And I should then... So we'll bring it to about here, where then it all kind of splits off in all directions anyway. We'll drop the signals in the same spots. So that will go there. We'll do the one set here and here. And then... Oh, no, no, no. So we're going to need a set somewhere. Is that too close to that one? I don't think it would be. And then that's just going to bend round. So this is where we do see it being a little bit of a tight-knit area. And then signal-wise, do one there and there. Yeah, it's a bit touch and go in areas, isn't it? It's a bit touch and go, but I think this will now do what I need it to do. So, with that said then, that line is all updated. So it comes down, it goes under, pops back up, and it runs along this side. So in reality, all the lines are now separate apart from those two lines that need to head that way. But I'm going to redo this momentarily anyway, for it to make a little bit more sense. Because right now, I feel like it doesn't really make that much sense. Not particularly anyway, not particularly. So we'll come back to that. But the trains are going to be all over the place right now. I think we're going to have to update some of these, because a lot of them are not going to understand which way they're going. And I'm going to make sure the trains are in the right place. So first and foremost, this train here coming in, it's going to drop off. Then it's going to be stuck, which it now is. So we'll turn it around to go back the opposite way, and then that should fix it, because there should be double slips further down that make it get on the right side. So give everything now a chance to kind of catch up and then figure out where they now ultimately need to be. Because right now they're a little bit all over the place. They are a little bit all over the place. Now this road here will come down and bend to match up to that road. That's eventually what, you know, that's what that's eventually going to do. Not liking the fact that we can see water here. We might need to fix that. I think it actually might be down to this bend here. If I redo this, and then I don't suppose I can lower it any much than what it is. But what if I deleted you and then redid you? So spin you right round. There is a way, not number of tracks there, to surface pre-adjustment. If I do that, that reduces its height. And I'm hoping that is... Oh, there's a collision now, isn't there? Alright, let's first smoothen all of this. What if I go to flatten slightly? It's quite low anyway. I think also the issue lies in how low this is. Doesn't it? That's where it also lies. So reduce that size. Let's go for the flatten tool. Yeah, we're pretty low anyway. So let me just get rid of this again. And I reckon we just... If I can grab it. Not sure how far to bring this out though. And then let me... Oh, no. Let me put this back to normal. So that's where it would be, but it would need to be even shorter. But there's too much of a slope then at that point. Too much of a slope. Unless I kind of bring it... I can make it go on the ground up here. So if I did it here instead, so span you round, I can actually make this now go a little bit longer. And then we just do the underground section there. But I need to move it further back to the bend. So I think it's situated better like this. I think it will be situated a lot better. So I could delete this now, by the way. And get rid of all of that. And then do it that way instead. So that works out better for us. I don't know whether it solves this issue. I don't think it does. Because that's just appearing water. We're a little bit too low. But it's something that we can fix anyway. It's not a real big issue. Right, let's leave that as it is then. It'll take time for them to kind of figure out what's going on and the updated situation and whatnot. But that's a lot more efficient, which means I could bring a lot more trains, and I can also now start upgrading the capacity of the trains at the same time. But let's just figure this out here. There is a scenario where we've also got the ore train, which kind of has to merge on. I could bring this, where this here doubles up, it doesn't need to double up. We don't need the crossover anymore. So I could, in theory, delete this. And then make this the double that switches in. So get rid of that. That's going to bend round instead to run parallel with this. And we'll have a separate one there. And then we'll do a crisscross there on that line for the San Cristobal line coming in, which is this line here. So I don't need you. We don't need you. We don't need you. We don't need you. I don't need you. Don't need you. Right, hold on. Don't need you. Don't need you. Don't need you. Don't need you. Bam. Bam. Signals that I've now just accidentally got rid of. Back in business. Right, we just don't need them. There is no need for that line there. But we're going to see if we can now kind of switch it out and combine it. So running this down here, running you, then round with it, extends that. Now I'm going to quickly pause now. I'm going to quickly pause for a second and redo this section. So delete you, delete you. Delete you, delete you. Delete you, delete you. I got to redo all of this. So we've got a multitude of lines that all need to kind of combine one another. So we've got to figure out where the main line is and where the main line isn't, if that makes sense. So I reckon there is room to run 2 sets there. And then, is that going to merge in? I think it might actually. Providing how we set the signals up. Merge like this. Why is that an issue? So you have that bend into... Well, bring it down first. That bend into there. That bend into there. That goes straight down. That goes straight down. But this kind of goes round into there. Hold on. Hold on. Right, there is a way in which I can do that. I think I need to do the bend first, which is the issue. I think that's what I need to do. So let me just bring that round. Bring that round. It doesn't feel like I'm favouring the ore and coal lines more than anything. But it's then just figuring out where the straight bit here is, which is there to there. So that's where that runs. And then we can kind of decipher which is on which side. And it means the one line's combined and we'll have to stop and start. The other line is combined and have to stop and start. I haven't got to do it like this. And I am creating a chokehold point there. That is the other downside to it all. That chokehold point is real. Unless we decide to merge it further on ahead. Because those will always be the issues with this. But I want to see how it kind of does it moving forward anyway. So that runs down there. That runs down there. I haven't got the ability to turn in just here. But we need that directly on this here. So that goes like that. That goes like that. And then the lines are figuratively back together. But we need to separate one of the lines. So it will be the coal line. It will be the coal line. I've got to sort out all these signals real quick. So leading up then. So that will signal there. While you signal there. We get... Oh, and a signal there, sorry. We then get rid of this signal. Because this signal here is going to be detrimental. Can't even delete it. There we go. So I don't want to stop there. That's their final stopping point. Once they go past that point, they're committed to making their way all the way through. That's a... I'm going to be real right now. That's a serious chokehold point. It really is. We need to make this better. We need to make this better. So I don't want it to come in and stop here. Because then that tail sticks out. And that's no good for us. We're committing them to going all the way across. Where the next one's there. That small train that does come around here though. I think it's small enough that it can stop there. I could be wrong. It's that one there. I'll have to double check on that one. Right. So, the coal line, let me just now grab this. So, manage the line. So, when it leaves Pina del Rio South, the first thing I want to do is hit that waypoint there. And then just before it arrives at it, it goes there. So I'm making that one. So at one point, this is the chokehold I'm making them go through. Which is quite negative. It is quite negative. So let's just see it all unravel first. I want to see that work. So we've already got our first issue. This train here. So it's mutually blocked because they don't know which side they now need to be on. Which is hilarious. So that is the ore train. Because that's crisscrossing over, which is the problem. So that's come from over there because it was originally on a different side. And now it's stuck. So I'm gonna turn that one round. Unfortunately, it's going to have to come back. But I can see this all work now, by the way. I can see this now all work and unravel itself. So that will wait for that one, which that now passes through. That is a serious chokehold. I can't fathom how bad that is. But the signals are set up where they all have to wait for one another. So that passes through. I'm going to make sure that this train's not too long for that section. So once they get past these two signals here, you're committed to entering the area. Now, what are you? You're an ore train? Yes. So that, if I can get this to merge further down, it hasn't got to interact with these stopping and starting. Which, it's not quite long enough, but we're going to change that real quick. Now, the issue I've got with this is it has to do it quite far back. So I'm wondering, let me wait for that train to pass and then I can delete all of this. That's what we'll do first. But we get that train off there. That's one last train that has to kind of crisscross on that. Which saves us ever so slightly. I don't know how detrimental that chokehold's going to be yet. I just don't know. Right, that's now passed through. Pause. Delete all of this. So delete the bits where it crosses over. Right, I'm deleting all the wrong things. There we go. And then delete it just here. And then ideally, we want it to go from there to here. So they can kind of swipe in, swipe out. Not a problem. Doesn't normally work that way, but we'll see. So signal-wise, this should now be long enough for the train. So we've switched that out, which is great. They're now flowing through. Again, that's my only chokehold point now at this point. Signals are there in place and they'll do what they need to do, like I keep saying. So with the two trains now coming round, they shouldn't interact, so they both... Oh no, that one's going straight ahead. But that now waits, so that's perfect. That, again, does the job. And there's a holding point there. So, yeah, like, again, I'm going to keep saying, my only chokehold point is there. So it's a bit better, but there's always a constant waiting. Depending on which side they're on, obviously. There is a constant waiting. But that's now coming down. Obviously, we'll have to wait for that to pass a signal. And there is that waiting there, which I think I could, theoretically, put a signal here. If I move these, let's say here instead. All right, there we go. Right, where's the issue? It's right here, isn't it? You're now caught. Why are you caught? What's your issue now? Oh, yeah, because they were using them signals as their waypoints. Of course they were. Right, so you're this one. And then after, you're that one. Right, there we go. I deleted what they were using as the waypoints. Right, I think that train's too long. It does kind of overhang slightly. Right, that really annoys me when you try to delete a signal and then you delete the rail. Super annoying. Right, that can go as far as here. That can go as far as there. I'm just trying to make it as long as I can, but I might need to... Then again, we do have bigger box cars now, so we can shorten that train with the same capacity. So, they do flow in. Do you know what? Even for the 20th time I say the word, this is now a chokehold point, we are yet to see the issue. I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as we thought it was once going to be. Everything seems to flow pretty nice in and out. Now, granted, it would be nice to have this switch before all of this, because that could obviously stop all those as well. So, we can apply the same logic to what we did on this for this one here. So, it merges before all of that chaos. So, if I pause now and I delete, 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 delete. And then for that train track, I know we've got the two signals just here. Let me just get rid of these two. And we turn just like that. Should be easy enough. To then run there. Oh, okay. The angle's not there. I think that's because I need to push it a bit further backwards, maybe. Right, does it work like that instead? Right, get rid of you. So get rid of this to that point. So construction not possible. Oh, okay, now I see why. So sort the signals out now then. Obviously we would have that one waiting there. But this one would have to wait here. Or do I might as well just do that one there as well? No, we'll keep that as it is. That signal now can be... These two signals actually can be now pushed down to here and here. They don't need to be as far back anymore. But But I do like the ideas of the signals being together though, so I'm not going to stagger them ones. So then that line no longer crisscrosses this entry point. So it no longer stops then if that's coming in and out. Let me just drop a signal there. I know we ain't got multiple trains on this line, but I'm going to drop multiple signals down anyway. So the only time it has to stop and start is when the passenger line's coming in and out. So that could now be a bit quicker at delivering the goods. And as complicated as it is, I don't think we're going to see any problems now. I think for the chaos that it is, I think we've fine-tuned it and made it as efficient as we can without having to redo everything. I think this is the most efficient you can make the junction without having to redo all the junctions. Look at how they all just now flow. Would that change if I add more trains to the line? Of course it would. If I added more trains to all these lines, then that's going to cause even more chaos. But the idea is to have the least amount of trains crossing or sharing lines, and we kind of get away with it. Now, there's no point me changing that chokehold to move it further down, because at some point they've all got to merge on the same line. But the fact that that can now run through, that can run through, and it's minimal stopping those ore and coal trains, which is a lot of, works out in our favour. So I think all of this has now become a lot more efficient. So does that mean we're now making a lot more money? We don't know. We ultimately don't know. So now we've got trains with more efficient, faster, all that sweet, sweet jazz. Do we now look towards maybe potentially upgrading their capacities? I think so. So there's a lot of wheat on this Peanut Area one going back and forth here. So I think the first thing we do is we edit the trains. Now they've each got a 252 capacity. So if I change these up right now, we're using them trains there, and they're costing us 495. Again, I don't want to go too expensive, but I do want a bit of pulling power. So what's the difference between that one and that one? Okay, we'll go with these China Railway ones. And then cargo-wise, if I go by capacity, so 252 is what they were carrying before on the gondolas, because they're carrying grain. So 252, that's already beaten it at 260. If I go for 300, how much longer are those trains? I think they're a lot shorter, if I'm being mistaken. Let's see it actually come into this platform. So they carry a bit more cargo now. I think there might be pretty much similar length, or they could be slightly shorter. But that'll be more deliveries than happening there, which I think that's just now leveled up. Or was it the oil that just leveled up? One of these just leveled up, and I'm not sure what it was. The oil train could do with now being upgraded. So he already has the best one on, but I think we'll increase this to a 300 capacity. So modify that, which the crisscross is over there. Plenty of space, and that's a longer platform, so plenty of space as well. So that will now make more money. That will now start carrying more goods. I don't think the other ones need upgrading just yet. That could probably do, we need it upgrading, because of it is a steam train. But until we've got too much food on here, then no. I'm gonna put my foot down there. So the wood trains, there's only so much we can do to delivering to over here. That needs to increase in numbers, which it will slowly. There's a lot of tobacco there, but not enough for me to warrant upgrading yet. Still getting vast amounts coming in. We need more consumers for the machines for this to upgrade. But I don't care what anyone says right now. I don't care what anyone says about this system. I think it's quite efficient. As crazy as it looks, I feel like that now might be more efficient than we've ever had this system. We could make it more efficient if we redone it, but I'm not going to redo it. We're just, you know, dealing with the hand we was dealt. And it seems to work. So no point in increasing ore and coal deliveries. We need to upgrade the steel. To upgrade the steel, we need its consumer, the machines, to level up. And the only way to level them up is obviously to deliver more machines to more cities. So a city that we could do that to is Havana. It does eventually need fuel, machines. It can take food, but we can choose it not to take food because there's not a lot of food available, right? It's taken from the Pina del Rio, and this is already maxed out and can't produce any more food if it tried. So it's just one of them. We're also taking food over to Mexico as well. So that's another thing at the same time. So we could just take machines and fuel. But are we producing fuel yet? Now we would be, and we would bring it back if there was a consumer to take it, which is what we're going to have right now. So new line. It's only going to be one train. Going to to Havana over here. And we'll make it bright orange. So in Havana here, it goes to 1 and 2. Of course it does. Actually, do I make it bright orange or do I make it white? We'll make it white. We'll make it white. So in the Pina del Rio here, it's on 7 and 8. And from there on the way, I'm going to make sure that it's using the right waypoints. So it's all in the middle, and it should all stay in the middle. And first hit this waypoint. And then going all the way up. I don't hit a waypoint there, but it's already in the middle. And then on the way back, it needs to hit that waypoint, which keeps it all on the cargo lines. Have I done that right? Why are they crisscross? What's crisscross in there? Oh, it's the San Cristobal Machines line. Of course it is. Of course it is. Now, I don't have anywhere where we can pull the train. Oh, no, we still do. It's here. I was going to say we don't have anywhere. I don't know what engine to go with. This is my next issue because they're all going to be quite expensive. But I think we can afford either the EM... No, I think we can afford this, the Series 246, because we're going to be delivering fuel. Now, cargo-wise, we've got to pretty much deliver fuel, like I said. So I do a 40 capacity just on fuel to begin with, because we don't really have much there. We're delivering machines, so we'll pick the boxcars. And I'll do a 100 capacity on that first. And I'll leave it like that. So I will expect this to not make much money. I haven't named that line yet either. So let me pause. So in the Pina del Rio over here, all we're going to be loading is machines and fuel. That's all we load. That's all it can do. That's all it can do. So don't need to sort out the unloading because it's only going to unload what's on it, which is 2 items. So we're going to call this the Havana machines / fuel. Easy enough. Easy enough. So with that now created, you will see machines get placed on here to be delivered. But we now should see, and we are seeing it, fuel being placed here. So we're already producing fuel. I've just realized it's going to Miami, but we should start seeing fuel being placed in this harbor, which we are. Which is, you're seeing it now going directly over to here. And then the fuel tankers will bring that back. So that gives us another consumer to this. And also give us another consumer for the machines, which you're now starting to see the machines look towards upgrading. So once they upgrade, they'll demand more planks, but more importantly, they'll demand more wood for us. Now, demanding more wood means that this upgrades, but more importantly, this upgrades. And if they both demand more on either side, it means the ships need to carry more to supply them, thus meaning the shipping route makes more money. So this episode and last episode, basically, what it all came down to is making that shipping line be profitable, which it's got some time still to go. We've still got some time to go, but we'll eventually get there. So give that a minute to kind of catch up. How are we looking over here right now? Because I know we're delivering food from both of these places to Matt's and Havana over here. This is the reason we're not bringing food over here. But I think the problem we've got here is the food doesn't reach the radius of the town where it needs to go. So we need like a small vehicle run that goes back and forth to up those numbers. So what I reckon we do is we build a nice little truck station, and I think we pull it on the outskirts of the town over here maybe. So if I just dropped it like, for example, here, should I go 2 on either side? Yeah, let's do it there. Because the further the distance to the drop-off point, the more money we technically make. And if I then create a new line and go from there to there, and name it our Havana food truck, make it that color, and then make it use all the platforms. And I'll start with one vehicle to begin with. We'll just start with the one. So I'm going to put the vehicle depot, I want to put it over here, just slightly out of the way. And then cargo, let's go by capacity, right down to the one that carries the food, which will be you, the boxcar. And pull it on that route, which is just there. So now, these should technically start producing more because there's a better radius for delivery than at that point. So it will take time. You can see that now numbers increasing, and that should then go into upgrade mode because of it. Which, there you go. Simple. And then the same thing will happen to this one. So they now both upgrade. They'll both now start producing more food. Now, I'm assuming it's the same thing and the same issue we've got over here in Matt, right? No. I don't think it is, actually. I think the radius is pretty good. I think that maybe just be like a distance thing. That's what it could be. So we might have to reconfigure what that train is and the costs of running that train will be. Right, I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to say it again. This is efficient. It works. It works. Everything seems efficient now at this point, doesn't it? Right, we're eating into that backlog slightly, which is great. Real good right now. We are bringing the food over from Mexico, which these are completely maxed out. Can't do anything else with them. We could probably look towards changing the vehicle type and getting more deliveries, but I ain't stressed. I'm not stressed about it right now. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Right. Fuel. Ships are coming in. Nice. Lots of fuel available for delivery. So is that now starting to get like a huge backlog? Yes, it is. Right. Anything set up for the Havana line yet? Not yet. But give it time. Give it all time right now with these brand new upgrades. You got to give it time, boys. So they're now starting to request more steel, by the way, because there's now not that many available. So has that caused this to upgrade? I think this has now caused this to upgrade, but it's looking like we need more ore. So I think the ore line, we now replace both sets of trains. So we'll go with Oh, yeah, we'll go with these series ones here. Cargo. And they both had a... Let's go 300 capacity on each. So I'll only do it for the ore ones, just to see if the ore does catch up with itself. So can we find an ore train on the way through? There we go. It's still got lots of capacity left over. And look at the length. It's actually shorter than the coal train, but can carry a lot more cargo. And that's how we do it, boys. That's how we do it. So talk about efficiency right now. That's absolutely amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. We'll end it here anyway. We've still got a lot more work to get done, but we're looking pretty solid right now. If you did enjoy this episode, please smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new. And until next time, I will see you all soon. So, goodbye.